Good evening, and thank you for joining us at our January board meeting, our first of 2024. I am Leah Cruzy, board chair of the DC Public Charter School Board. Joining me this evening are my fellow board members and colleagues. We have Treasurer Chantel Wright, Secretary Shakura Adama-Fanian, and Nick Rodriguez. Vice Chair Jim Sandman will be joining us partway through tonight's meeting. And we are very much looking forward to welcoming our newly sworn-in board member, Carissa Stanley Beatty, next month. As a reminder, DC PCSB is an independent government agency of the District of Columbia, created in 1996 and led by volunteers, 7-member board. As the sole public charter school authorizer in our nation's capital, we provide oversight to 136 public charter schools, which are managed by 69 independently run nonprofit organizations called local education agencies, or LEAs. These schools educate more than 46,000 students, nearly half of DC's public school students. And our work is to ensure that every DC student receives a quality education that makes them feel valued and prepares them for lifelong learning, fulfilling careers, and economic security. We do that by creating the policies and conditions that empower teachers and school leaders to do their best work, and that's educating students. Over the past several months, we've been listening to our staff, our state education agency, and external partners like Education Board Partners, and experts like the National Association of Charter School Authorizers, and others with particular expertise in both charter school quality and school accountability. We've listened to learn, and I know I speak for my colleagues that we all have learned a lot from these experts and from these discussions toward our shared commitment that schools produce equitable outcomes for all students, and ensuring that students from historically marginalized groups receive a quality education. After all, the unique role we play in the unique governance system we have here in the District of Columbia rests on our oversight of a system of independent public charter schools. As a parent and resident of DC, I have to catch myself sometimes to recognize how fortunate I am to live here. Between DCPS and public charters, the 70 local educational agencies of this city offers parents and students a broad range of program models that is elsewhere only available to those who can buy into such choice, whether by purchasing a home in a particular set of blocks or attending a private school. I'm humbled by the hard work and vision of the thousands of people, educators, parents, and city leaders who made this possible. Nearly 30 years into it, this rich set of public school offerings calls us to both celebrate and to lead on our path of continuous improvement as the authorizer of 69 of those LEAs. The logistical realities of this rich array of school options can present operational system challenges. Charter schools need to access facilities to educate the students who want their program. Neighborhoods change over time, city agencies and services that support students in schools and neighborhoods, and of course, the evolving needs of students and families. It's the work of this body to focus on what quality means through our accountability work, and to continuously reevaluate the need and opportunity for models, new and continuing. Now, accountability is a term that can be interpreted in different ways. It is not and has never been solely the result of a single test. And multiple bodies engage in different types of accountability for differing purposes and in differing ways. As we heard from our state superintendent in December, the roles of state education agencies to conduct accountability for federal reporting is critical, and it is also distinct from the role of the charter authorizing body, us. Our use of accountability is specific for public charter schools, as opposed to inclusive for charter and traditional district schools, and for the unique range of charters that our city offers, pre-K all the way through adulthood and including alternative schools. We are the entity responsible for enabling the creation of a charter, as well as the continued review and renewal of that charter. Thus, we seek to understand how well the schools we have authorized are serving the students whose parents choose to send them there, or in the case of adult schools, who choose to attend themselves. Among what makes charter schools different from traditional public schools is that a charter is a legal contract between this body and that school's governing body, its board, grounded in its charter goals. Those goals vary by school, but are all measurable goals that articulate what success looks like for students at that school. This may sound technical, but it is profound in that it makes explicit what that school's purpose is. Thus, at the heart of our relationship with the schools we've authorized are the expectations and promises a school is making for the students who choose to attend it. But our learning is not done. As Dr. Walker Davis will outline next, we look forward to hearing from the public about their views on the revision to the accountability system that staff will propose next month. Now, I would love to turn it over to Dr. Michelle Walker Davis.
Thank you, Chair Cruzy, and good evening, board members. Before I share about the exciting milestone in our revised accountability system journey, I would like to inform the board about two studies currently underway through the Deputy Mayor of Education's office that may have significant impact for public charter schools: the Student Assignment and Boundary Study, as well as the Adequacy Study. I'll start with the Boundary Study. So the Student Assignment and Boundary Study Committee is currently in the process of drafting and refining recommendations with the Advisory Committee, for which I am a member, along with Pat Brantley, the CEO of Friendship Public Charter Schools, as well as other community members. We anticipate that the final report will be released in March of this year. I've participated in the majority of the meetings and, as some of you may know, have voiced concerns about some of the recommendations being considered affecting charter schools, particularly shared planning between public charter schools and DCPS on opening new schools and creating common entry grades, cross-sector dual language feeders to provide dual language elementary schools. And I am now just enumerating the number of recommendations that are currently being considered but not yet advanced. Just wanted to let the board members know what those ideas were at this particular point. So again, cross-sector dual language feeders to provide dual language elementary schools, and this is both DCPS and public charter schools, with nearby dual language DCPS middle school feeders. So looking at a continuum from elementary to middle school, particularly in the area of dual language. Recommending that all schools, DCPS and charter, with low at-risk concentration, meaning under 30% in the total school enrollment, implement the at-risk set-aside in the My School DC lottery. Most of the impacted charters here are actually already doing this, but this is a recommendation that is being considered or proposed. Recommending outreach to charter LEAs and families about the special education designated seats option in the My School DC lottery. Explore, and another recommendation is exploring opportunities for programmatic shared space to benefit students and families being served at schools with unused space through either extensive engagement with school leadership and communities, and thinking about ways that they can partner with either higher ed or health clinics or job training. I offer these as just ideas that are coming up from the committee. There's additional data that will have to be looked at. There's additional refinement of these recommendations, but I am just giving an update to our board this evening in this area to strongly encourage our board, as well as the school leaders, particularly charter school leaders, to tune into the February 6th meeting of the advisory committee to hear and learn more about the latest recommendations. More information will be shared about the adequacy study, but just wanted to mention that that is a study that is looking at the financial implications for schools, ways to think about our uniform per student funding formula and other finance options. We'll hear more about that as the weeks come, and I suspect that whatever recommendations come out of that committee will be considered either for this budget cycle or future budget cycles. Now, I would like to turn my attention to accountability. As you know, we have been talking about our revised accountability system for more than 2 years. This is a goal in our Excellent Schools priority in our strategic roadmap. And while there is more work for us to do, we want to share with you the name chosen for this system. In our opinion, this name captures the promise and the vision of the changes. We are calling it ASPIRE. ASPIRE stands for Annual School Performance Index Reporting and Evaluation. Simply put, ASPIRE means achieving excellent schools for all students, particularly those from communities that have been historically marginalized. We believe that the ASPIRE system will have several benefits. We see it as One, a valuable tool that will allow us to see the gaps in academic achievement, as well as the bright spots. A way to prioritize the academic performance of at-risk students and students with disabilities, and a means to value the unique mission that many schools have. As you know, we've discussed including school-specific goals in our accountability system. We will ask this board to officially open the proposed Aspire system for public comment in February. If the board approves the request, the Aspire policy and technical guide will be posted on our website under the tab Public Comment. This will be an opportunity for the public to read and review the guide and submit comments in writing, through voicemail, or in testimony at our public hearing meeting on March 18th. Until the February 5th special board meeting, I hope that you will take the time to review the Aspire materials that will be on the website. It will include a description of Aspire as well as a white paper which describes the overall system. The paper will also outline DCPCSB's history of academic accountability, the rationale for revising our accountability system, and the major components and research base behind Aspire. I want to take this time to thank all of the school leaders for their ongoing partnership in this process, their active engagement in multiple advisory committee meetings, in learning sessions, and for the tough questions that we've gotten along the way. I would also like to thank this board for your support and your commitment to developing a fair, equitable, and accurate tool that we will now call the Aspire system. You will hear more about this in the weeks to come, but I am so excited to be at this juncture in our journey, and I thank you again, board, for your support along the way. Turn it back to you, Chair Kruse.
Thank you, Dr. Walker-Davis and team. There's quite a lot going on here, and your update just now barely touches on the incredible amount of work that has gone into getting us to this point. So looking forward to more. Thank you. Okay. At the beginning of every monthly meeting, the DC Public Charter School Board will hear up to, I want to make sure I'm being clear here. We're moving on to our registered public comment speakers here. So we've got quite a number of them tonight. Welcome, everyone. At the beginning of our meeting each month, the DC Public Charter School Board will hear up to 25 minutes of public testimony related to items on the agenda and up to 10 minutes for testimony not related to any agenda items. Community members who will have a maximum of 2 minutes to testify. Public officials who sign up to testify will be allowed to speak up to 5 minutes. Due to our very robust public comment registration for tonight's meeting, we've decided we want to extend the public comment timeframe to accommodate all of the registered speakers. With that, we will be enforcing the allotted testimony time by muting your mic after you've been speaking for 2 minutes. I apologize in advance for any discomfort this may cause. We just want to make sure that all speakers are given the time that they were promised while still honoring the space and time for a public meeting agenda. So the hand raising feature has been disabled. Individuals who previously signed up to testify will be called upon. And as a reminder, all written public comment is available to the public on our website. If you didn't sign up by sending your name to the public comment mailbox before this meeting, please submit your comments to public.comment@dcpcsb.org, or you can call our public comment line to leave a voicemail testimony at 202-328-2660 and select option 2. As we move through each speaker, Aisha, our moderator for the evening, will unmute DCPCSB constituent staff or individuals speaking on behalf of a school. So with that, let us begin, and we will hear from the 21 witnesses who have signed up to speak this evening. Thank you for joining us. And I'll invite first before the board, Erin Palmer, Secretary of the Advisory Neighborhood Commission 4B02, for 5 minutes. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you, members of the DC Public Charter School Board and staff, for taking the time to hear from the public during this hearing. Regarding the issue of Mary McLeod Bethune Day Academy Public Charter School's proposal to relocate the school's 16th Street location to Tacoma Park Baptist Church at 635 Aspen Street Northwest. My name is Erin Palmer. I'm the Advisory Neighborhood Commissioner for Single Member District 4B02, which encompasses the address for the proposed relocation. In this volunteer elected official position, I engage regularly and actively with neighbors across the commission area, including through door knocking and a regular newsletter. And I have specifically communicated repeatedly and in detail with the neighbors surrounding the address for the proposed relocation, as well as my fellow commissioners in the broader ANC 4B area. ANC 4B unanimously approved at our January 22nd meeting and submitted a lengthy letter noting challenges with the community engagement process for charter school relocation and the need for coordination and oversight with regard to the siting of public charter schools. A large portion of that letter focuses on Bethune's efforts at community engagement here. As noted in the letter, Bethune's communications with ANC 4B and the surrounding community have been mired in miscommunication and seemingly designed to limit meaningful community engagement. As the relevant single-member district commissioner, I have had to repeatedly press the school for engagement and information, which, if it comes, is at the last minute and often incomplete. I encourage the board members to read our commission letter in detail to understand the commission's concerns. I would like to use my time today to discuss additional community engagement challenges that took place after our commission letter was finalized, and specifically the school's repeated commitment to attend an ANC 4B meeting, but failure to do so. I had to chase Bethune to commit to coming to an ANC 4B meeting after attending an in-person meeting for school parents where the school wasn't immediately aware I was present. The school implied they were not able to meet with the commission. I immediately spoke to correct that impression, noting the timing of our meetings.
Is it Ms.
Our
Palmer?
commission
Is
said
it me
that the
or
first of it would be
Ms. Palmer?
we
Your
said that
your
we
internet is
affirmatively
going in and out. Your internet is going in and out. We can't hear you. Aisha, let's pause
Okay.
her time so she
I
can
have
reset.
Yeah, let's go back to, I think maybe try one sentence prior.
Okay, thank you for letting me know. I did get a little warning that my connection is unstable. Let me see where I was here. I followed up with an email making clear that the school was invited to that ANC 4B meeting and that we expected to have them at a commission meeting before this board's hearing so that we could weigh in on the proposal, especially given our extensive work on traffic calming and traffic safety infrastructure in the area, and to have our feedback considered by the decision-making entity. After multiple emails, the school finally committed. They also committed to neighbors on January 18th that they would attend this commission meeting. But then they never showed up at our meeting, never emailed to indicate they would not be present, and only offered a reason for their lack of attendance today, 1 week after the meeting and the same day as this hearing. We also know that they met with another entity during this time about the proposed relocation. How is the commission or community supposed to engage and build trust with the school if they are unwilling to show up to meetings and honor their commitments? The commission has asked for some specific commitments from the school in our letter, including a more robust engagement process with neighbors and a memorandum of understanding defining neighborhood concerns, including those related to traffic calming and traffic safety infrastructure. We asked for this memorandum because we are aware of a detailed similar document led by commissioners in another ANC with another school in a matter that came before the board. Here we have specifically highlighted the need for conversations to define those challenges and reach solutions among the school, the commission, and the community. The school has indicated with a simple yes that it will enter into such a memorandum, but I have concerns, particularly based on the school's pattern of engagement and lack of any follow-up with regard to this request. This is why we have asked for a more defined commitment to be mandated as part of the board's consideration here. At root, our request for a memorandum of understanding speaks to the lack of coordination and oversight here. And more broadly, why would another community be deserving of a stronger level of community engagement, but not ours? The floor should be higher and not dependent on the whim and will of the school at issue. We've certainly not lucked out here. I would like to reiterate something mentioned in our commission letter. As with all matters that come before the commission, I went into these communications with the school with the goal of harmonizing the school's relocation with the community's questions and concerns. Yet the school has been evasive in a way that I have never experienced before in my 5 years as a commissioner. This matter has been uniquely challenging, and the school has made it harder to build any level of trust with the community. I hope that the school can turn this around, but it shouldn't take this much effort from community volunteers and neighbors with regard to an entity seeking to join the neighborhood. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. We next have Evan Yates, Treasurer of the Advisory Neighborhood Commission 4B04. There's Evan.
Yes, greetings, members of the Charter School Board. Thank you for having me here this evening. I appreciate the time available to testify. In addition to being the Commissioner for Single Member District 4B04, which is the adjacent single member district, I am the co-chair of Advisory Neighborhood Commission 4B's Vision Zero Committee, which deals with issues of traffic safety around our community. This is my third term as an advisory neighborhood commissioner. And in that time period, I have represented traditional public schools, public charter schools, and private schools. Each one of them has found me to be an ally on a common concern, which is the issue of student safety around traffic, especially around the ongoing challenges in pickup and drop off around students. Unfortunately, however, the engagement from Mary McLeod Bethune has not been substantial as they seek to locate on a corridor that has suffered with severe traffic concerns, including a fatal traffic accident directly in front of the proposed location within the previous year and a half. Our commission has worked extremely hard to get traffic calming along the Piney Branch Road Northwest corridor, in particular because of a daycare and a public school up the road and another traffic fatality that occurred of a young man just a few blocks away. Those efforts have largely been successful, but we have deep concerns around proposed modifications to existing safety proposals in order to accommodate the school's pickup and drop off based on a study that did not engage with serious facilities in the area for protected, for vulnerable road users. In addition to that, I will say we overall have an ongoing disappointment in the Public Charter School Board's unwillingness to engage in issues around student safety, viewing its oversight as limited to concerns around school performance. We'll note that several years ago, this is not a NIMBY issue for us. We wrote a principled letter, a Senate resolution to the Public Charter School Board, encouraging the Public Charter School Board to engage more fully in oversight of school siting and encourage and require schools to cooperate with DDOT to take student safety into consideration when they cited no schools. Those schools, the Public Charter School Board did not engage with that resolution, did not give it great weight as required by district law, which was disappointing to see. Our previous interaction with the Public Charter School Board around school expansion was around Rocket Ship, public charter schools who came to our commission and unfortunately misled our commission about the safety challenges they were experiencing. The Public Charter School Board did not engage with the specifics of ANC 4B's letter describing those concerns. I understand that you view your role as extremely limited in the oversight of Public Charter School Board. However, there has been consensus among parents and families and teachers that I've dealt with across public charter, and private school sectors that these are issues deserving of serious engagement. And I believe it is time for the Public Charter School Board to engage in that process, to push its schools to engage in that process, especially when citing, relocating, or building new schools. We've all seen the tragic consequences, right? Outside public schools, like on the elementary on Wheeler Road Southeast, outside public charter schools, like the student who was hit and killed during an unmanaged pickup and drop off process outside KIPP. And the Public Charter School Board has not responded to those incidents. And I believe it's time to step up and do their part. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, we have Nancy Smith.
Nancy Smith is not in the attendee pool, but our next speaker is.
Okay, so after our next speaker, we'll see if Nancy Smith is available. Thank you. Our next speaker is Valerie Jablo.
I am Valerie Jablo, a DC citizen, commenting on the application of the Mary McLeod Bethune Charter School to relocate its facility because it raises fiscal and demographic concerns. The proposed facility requires extensive renovations while the LEA itself has been losing enrollment and funds. The most recent FAR analysis notes that Bethune must, quote, increase its enrollment and or effectively manage its costs to maintain its financial health. By contrast, the Charter Board staff report is upbeat about the increased expenses of this new, larger facility. The report notes that Bethune's enrollment has grown this year without specifying how much. Given that BERS in DC are decreasing and that Bethune's enrollment declines are not correlated with COVID, this is a serious disconnect with reality, all the more as publicly available data show apparent shortfalls in the LEA covering occupancy expenses in its existing facilities. Equally concerning is that as a school of choice with specialized programming, Bethune plans to recruit students from the community around the new Ward 4 facility. This seems odd as Bethune can draw from the entire city and the schools around this new location are rated more highly than Bethune, but demographics may be the reason. Bethune's other facility in Ward 5 is not fully utilized despite being large enough to hold all its students. Yet in school year 21-22, 74% of Bethune students came from Wards 5, 7, and 8, and only 18% from Ward 4. Demographic data, however, make clear that incomes of Ward 4 households are higher than the DC average, while those of households in Wards 5, 7, and 8 are lower. As student test scores are correlated with household income, recruiting more Ward 4 students to a larger Ward 4 facility could boost the school's rating and enrollment. As it is, publicly available data suggests that the LEA's enrollment declines have been mainly at its Ward 5 Brookland location, with the largest declines in students residing in Wards 5, 7, and 8. The LEA's high staff attrition rate also appears to be mainly at Brookland, which has changed principals each year for the last 3 school years. I have submitted these concerns as written testimony with extensive footnotes, which I hope you take into account before your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Has Nancy Smith arrived?
I haven't seen Nancy Smith in the attendee pool, but the
Okay.
next speaker is Stephanie.
Stephanie Hone? Stephanie, are you here? Welcome, Stephanie.
We can't hear you.
We're gonna wait until you're unmuted. It looks like you're connecting. Now you're muted. We'll do a test first, once you unmute.
Sorry about that.
Now we can hear you.
Yes. Can you hear me now? Okay, great. My name is Stephanie Hain, and I've had children at Mary McLeod Bethune for the past 3 years. As a resident of Ward 4B, I think that the relocation is a wonderful addition to the community. Leasing space to Bethune will enable the Tacoma Park Baptist Church, which has been operating for over 100 years, to continue in their current location. At the same time, the neighborhood will be enhanced by the addition of a dual immersion school. Language immersion schools, especially for Spanish, which is what Bethune is, are in extremely high demand. Options such as DC Bilingual and Latin American Montessori Bilingual have waitlists with hundreds of students. Demand outpaces the supply, and having one in the neighborhood will be a welcome addition. The school will also renovate the building to modernize it, remove asbestos and lead, and make it ADA compliant. As a Bethune parent, the relocation will have many advantages as well. The school has outgrown its current home. Larger classrooms with lots of natural light will greatly improve the atmosphere of the school. Basic amenities such as an adequate staff lounge and bathroom will be much better than the current accommodations. The school will also be able to implement a bigger library, reliable internet, a new playground, and more. This will bring the facilities more in line with other schools, both public and charter, in the area. Our kids need a bright space to learn and grow. Watching the handful of current students happily run through the halls of the Tacoma Park Baptist Church during the relocation walkthrough made me hopeful that the space can be their new school home. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Jenna Sabasco. Welcome.
Hi, can you hear me okay? Great. My name is Jenna Savasco. I'm a Tacoma Elementary School parent. Today, I want to call your attention to written testimony submitted by Tacoma parents to the board. That letter, endorsed by approximately 30 parents, highlights our collective concerns. Very quickly, I would like to run through those. It is troubling that decisions about charter school establishment, expansion, and relocation, which are paid for with public dollars, are made without consideration for the needs of a neighborhood or the district as a whole. This is a structural issue that the charter board, as a responsible authorizer, should address. Second, Bethune has stated in their application that they intend to expand and recruit from the Tacoma neighborhood. An overconcentration of schools in a neighborhood will spread resources, public and private, thin. Our existing by right schools are strong. They have capacity to accept new students. In fact, as the by right school, they were required to accept new students throughout the year. Every year, many new and country students join our school. Mid-year. New leadership at Tacoma has worked very hard to achieve new academic milestones and to build the school community. Bethune's relocation will only disrupt that progress. Third, we are concerned about the speed at which the application is being reviewed and Bethune's lack of engagement with the community. While Bethune says they are interested in becoming a part of our community, their actions tell a different story. Let me share a few examples. Leadership at Tacoma Elementary School has not received notice of the proposed relocation. Despite confirming their attendance, Bethune was absent from the ANC meeting last week. Bethune has relied solely on the ANC to do outreach on their behalf. There are some basic common sense ways to do outreach in a community: door knocks, flyers, neighborhood listservs, emails. None of those have happened. Bethune's written responses to concerns raised by community members through the ANC have been incomplete. Simply put, Bethune has failed to meet your standard of reasonable and documented community engagement. And frankly, any trust that once existed has been broken. Lastly, echoing the concerns of others, we share apprehensions about traffic safety. Collaborating with the ANC, Tacoma parents have advocated for changes to the Piney Branch corridor to enhance pedestrian safety over many years. With newly implemented traffic patterns, bike lanes, and speed bumps, any institution joining our community should be obligated to contribute to maintaining its safety. In light of these concerns, I'm respectfully requesting that the Public Charter School Board decline to approve this relocation request. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today.
Thank you. Aisha, is Nancy Smith up yet?
No, I haven't seen her.
Okay. Is Barbara Schwabauer here?
Yes, she is in the queue.
All right.
Hi, I don't know why my video is not coming up. But anyway,
We can hear
you
you.
can hear me? Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Welcome.
Okay. Thank you. I'm a Tacoma resident and a parent of 2 students at Tacoma Elementary School, and I oppose Bethune's relocation to Tacoma Park Baptist Church. Bethune Academy made superficial and disingenuous efforts to engage with the neighborhood community about its relocation, and it did so with confidence and without concern because they knew that this board's standards do not truly have any teeth. They knew you would rubber stamp their relocation regardless of the substance of their efforts. Otherwise, why would their lack be so brazen? We as community members have no power to convince this board that this underperforming charter school will not benefit the Tacoma community as a whole. The only people that this relocation serves are the handful of parents of current Bethune students who live in the neighborhood and the school's administration's interest in obtaining more money from the city by having additional spaces. While the church will also benefit financially, Bethune represented that the church was not affirmatively seeking a lease for its space, and if it did so, perhaps it would find an even more lucrative opportunity to create a lease. In most major cities that have a dual charter public school system like ours, there is oversight controlled by the democratic process. Those systems also have meaningful standards about the placement of charters, particularly when it comes to their proximity to existing by right public schools. DCPS and this board should be working in tandem to make sure that all children in the district receive a quality education. And as such, this board should care about whether this relocation will be draining neighborhood resources from Tacoma Elementary, a Title I school. Tacoma Elementary is just 2 blocks away from Bethune's proposed location, and it has improved dramatically in recent years, as others have stated, with respect to academic performance, retention of teachers and administrative staff, and fostering a strong school community in the neighborhood. Bethune's relocation sends the message that this board does not think that the students at Tacoma Elementary School are receiving a quality education, and nothing could be further from the truth. I also echo what others have said about traffic safety. This board should not approve Bethune's proposed relocation. Thank you.
Thank you. Aisha, is Monica Garcia Mejia here?
She was promoted. Let's see. I don't think she accepted it. Monica, if you can hear me, accept my promotion.
Okay. Well, is Shakira Davies here?
She is not.
Okay. We'll keep an eye out for each one of these people. Azalea Mitchell,
She is not.
Maria Cabrera,
She is, and I'm promoting her now.
all right.
Maria, you have to accept the promotion. And Monica, you have to accept the promotion. I'll try the next person. I'll try Devise.
Okay.
Devise declined the promotion as well.
Stephanie Menendez.
I'll try her. And Stephanie also declined the promotion, but she was given permission to speak. All she has to do is unmute herself. Let's see if I ask her to unmute.
Can you just remind me, Aisha, if these individuals have registered to testify, have they also all submitted written testimony?
A lot of them have, not all of them though.
Okay.
I'll try the next person. Bianca, I don't see in the queue. Shamia, I saw in the queue earlier. She's here. Jamia Williams, she accepted the promotion.
Welcome, Jamia.
Okay, hello.
Hi.
All right, thank you. Good evening. Okay. Good evening to everyone and to the board. Good evening, my name is Jamia Williams, and I have been a part of the Mary McLeod Bethune family since 2004 when the doors have opened. I've had the pleasure of serving as an elementary school teacher. Currently, I am the student support team coordinator and also the interventionist. I also serve on the board of trustees. Mary McLeod Bethune has two campuses in two different quadrants in DC, one in Northeast and one in Northwest. Even though we are servicing families in different wards, we are still one school with one mission and one vision. Parts of our school's mission states that we are to implement a high performing day school, provide a diverse learning environment to assure that students will achieve academic success, talent, and positive social development. In order for us to continue to live up to our school's mission and our vision, which is a school of excellence, we have to provide a facility that will help our students grow academically. As they grow, so are their minds. And moving to Tacoma Park Baptist Church is the right place and the right thing for us to do. It will provide larger classrooms and space for all of our students to continue their educational path. And I thank you for this time. And I just ask that you all reconsider and consider. Let me just slow down. I will ask that you all consider the relocation to Tacoma Park Baptist Church. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Aisha, is Inez Wellington here or any of the earlier registrants?
The next person I was able to locate was Gabrielle Nicolette.
All right.
Let me see. I tried to promote. Oh, there she is.
Thank you for your time this evening. I will be brief. I have concerns about Bethune coming into Tacoma Park Baptist Church, which is right across the street from my house. As it is right now, I have nearly been squashed like a bug 3 times in school rush hour traffic on my street. In addition, there is an alley that runs next to my house that serves as a cut through for many commuters, which has diminished since they capped Whittier at Piney Branch, but continues. And people do not go slow on Aspen Street or in the alley. And so I have significant concerns about increase in traffic, about small children being in that traffic. I'm not opposed to the school. I don't know enough about the school to oppose the desire for a school to move into a bigger space. That's a lovely thing. I highly question the wisdom of doing it here in this space, given the number of schools that are around and given the traffic concerns. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I just promoted Lisa Cohen.
All right.
Hello?
Welcome, Ms. Cohen. Let's give you a minute to get yourself better.
Hello?
We hear you, but there's substantial feedback.
Okay,
Before we start.
I'm handing it off to Nancy Smith because there was some problem with her being
good.
acknowledged.
I had a terrible time getting signed in. Okay, over 52 years, I've had 9 children and 4 grandchildren in DCPS and charter schools. Last graduated from DCI last June. I value schools in each sector if they're high quality and if they're assets to the community. However, I am strongly opposed to Bethune relocating to Tacoma. Originally, I intended to ask why this board is considering endorsing expansion of a seriously low-performing, under-enrolled school with no wait list that brings neither higher quality nor greater program diversity to this part of Ward 4. I note that our much higher performing DCPS schools have virtually identical demographics to Bethune. Schools like this simply drain resources from both sectors that could be better directed to strengthening programs in each. Instead, I want to focus on Bethune's disrespect for our community. Their treatment of us to date leaves little hope that they will work with us cooperatively to address extremely serious safety concerns posed by their pickup and drop-off plan on Piney Branch Road, which was done without any consideration of the real world traffic that was going on. It was theoretical. Our ANC commissioner had to apply pressure, as she told you, to get Bethune to meet with us. The Bethune application has a long list of invitees to their November presentation, not one from our community. They didn't provide a promised recording of that meeting. They attached undated letters to the local schools, but Tacoma and Whittier, the two local schools, never received those letters or any other outreach from Bethune. They didn't respond to requests from immediate neighbors for a walkthrough of the site, didn't share their so-called traffic plan until a month after its completion, too late for the ANC or DDOT to take a stand. They would not commit to doing an essential full traffic study. They were scheduled to present, as you know, to the full ANC, and in their final finger to the community, they were no-shows. We neighbors are deeply concerned about safety issues on Piney Branch and Aspen. Perhaps they could be resolved with a willing partner. I fear that does not look likely. In the interests of both education sectors and of our community, I ask that you deny Bethune's application.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Is Ms. Cohen also going to submit testimony?
I'm happy to. I'll just take a second, and I want to associate myself with Erin's remarks and others in the neighborhood who have talked about the traffic concerns. In reading your public school instructions for completing the application, it says very clearly that they must present at the ANC. And since that was not done, and as Nancy says, somewhat of a finger in our eye, I would ask that you also reject this application. I'm also concerned, as everyone said, about the traffic. In their presentation, they said they were going to do a full traffic study, but when the person who presented the traffic study said she was only asked to do a pickup and drop off in a very narrow study. So with their flagrant disregard of the rules of your own commission and their unwillingness to work with the neighborhood, I again respectfully request that you deny their application. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, looks like we have Eliza Dermody coming up.
Whole block's going to. I didn't know Gabrielle was going to get on.
Eliza, you need to unmute yourself.
Hi there, are you able to hear me? Hello, are you able to hear me?
We can. It's a little faint, but we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you very much for the opportunity to testify this evening. I live across the street from the Tacoma Park Baptist Church, and I want to speak about some of the safety concerns that others have raised in connection with Bethune's request. And I want to start by saying I'm not opposed to Bethune or any other school operating out of the church space, but I do have serious concerns about Bethune's failure to address the safety hazard that its proposed relocation would create, both for Bethune students and for other pedestrians in the area, including my own two school-age children. You've heard that Aspen Street and Piney Branch Road are both heavily trafficked roads that for years have been identified as needing enhanced traffic calming measures to protect pedestrian safety. If Bethune moves to the church, it will produce even more traffic on streets that are already congested and unsafe. And you've heard that neighbors have pressed Bethune to analyze how their proposed relocation will impact traffic and safety in the area and explain what steps they plan to take to mitigate those risks. But unfortunately, Bethune's responses have been limited and evasive at best. As you've heard in detail from others this evening, Bethune has not commissioned a traffic impact analysis. It has not even agreed to commission one. It instead said earlier this month that it would commission one if it thought that that was necessary. Bethune has not even explained whether or how it intends to implement the recommendations in the much more limited pickup drop-off evaluation that it did conduct. I urge the board to hold off on ruling on Bethune's application until after Bethune has conducted a traffic impact analysis, come up with a detailed action plan to address and mitigate the safety risks posed by its proposed relocation, and taken the other steps listed in the ANC commissioner's letter, including entering into a memorandum of understanding with the neighborhood. Granting Bethune's application at this point would endanger not only Bethune students, but also other neighborhood children. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
I've been trying to promote the people that I do see in the queue, and they continue to decline my promotion. The only other thing I know to do is to give them permission to speak. Maybe they don't want to be on camera, so I will do that and see what happens with DVSA. I'm gonna try to.
What about Yolanda Whitted?
Yolanda, she declined my.
Okay.
But I'm allowing her to speak, so let's see if she wants to do it that way.
Okay.
Yolanda, you've been permitted to speak. You need to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Welcome.
All right. Thank you. I'm Yolanda Whitted, a Columbia Heights resident and proud educator of engineering at Girls Global Academy with concerns about our charter. Many teachers are disempowered and overburdened, subbing without compensation for colleagues who have resigned en masse, alongside paid subs who often transition to full-time teaching roles, gravely affecting instructional quality and community. Students and teachers have been injured in a myriad of daily contagion fights, leaving many feeling hopeless, helpless, voiceless, and unsafe. Teachers are purchasing resources from our inadequate salaries. My classroom lacks basic lab resources, and despite repeated requests and Perkins grant funding, necessary materials and equipment haven't been provided. Investments in GGA Letterman jackets and swag for founding staff, hall furniture that causes disruptions to learning, surveillance devices across teacher-frequented areas to evoke fear and intimidation, deepen a need for fiscal transparency and accountability. There is no student council or government. There are, however, student ambassadors to recruit new families to our enrollment as our enrollment plummets. Efforts to expand our parent organization to a parent-teacher-student organization were rejected by administration, leading to a grassroots initiative for change. We urge this body to enforce its policies, investigate our concerns, and ensure budget allocations meet our schools' educational needs. These students, potential leaders in science, engineering, and art, deserve a nurturing and supportive educational experience. They matter, and it's time that their needs are prioritized. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Whitted. Bianca Guzman Harsley.
Thank you. Thank you for an opportunity to speak. Hello, most honorable chairperson and interested community members. My name is Bianca Guzman Harsley. I have the privilege of being the Parent Involvement Coordinator for Mary McLeod Bethune. Tonight, I am speaking for the move/relocation of Mary McLeod Bethune 16th Street campus to 635 Aspen Road. Mary McLeod Bethune, I will be addressing henceforth as MMB. First and foremost, our school opens their doors to everyone. English and Spanish-speaking persons, guardians, parents, stakeholders, and of course, our neighbors. When we open the door, our parents take ownership and are empowered to do so. And they meet the needs of our students. And yes, our parents have fun in the process. We have a powerful PTO and parents and community members who bond together to meet needs when a student experiences a fire or death of a parent. MMB joins in wrapping their arms around the whole family. In addition to our parent groups, we have also scheduled Chat and Choose, where our parents are invited in to meet with administration and other staff. And they come up with solutions to school dilemmas and weigh in on important decisions. Every year, parents, community stakeholders, and neighbors are invited to join us for our back-to-school barbecues. We hold raffles, Hispanic heritage celebrations, Oktoberfest, pumpkin paloozas, and on the horizon, yes, Black History Month celebrations. not to mention our basketball games, our drum lines with the band that excites the community. MMB offers the whole community entertainment and our cultural opportunities for all. In closing, I want you to know that we have high academic standards. We have high IB standards and programs are learned at the pre-K levels. We have a very strong bilingual Spanish program, and our children are learning from day one in pre-K 3 and pre-K 4 classes. And those sweet angels love teaching their parents. So our parents are our partners before and after school. Last word. Who are we? MMB? We're givers, not takers. We will.
Thank you, Bianca. I think we have next Maria Cabrera.
Hello. I'm not Maria Cabrera. Good evening, everyone. My name is Monica Garcia. As a teacher, I am happy about the prospect of our school relocating to a new location. I'm excited to have larger spaces for our students, and I believe it will be great for the kids' learning experience. On a personal note, as someone who relied on public transportation, I'm delighted to hear about the nearby metro station. I look forward to the positive changes and opportunities this new location will bring for both our school, community, and myself.
Thank you, Monica. My apologies for getting your name wrong. We have Maria up next. I had different names in different orders here. My apologies. Is Maria Cabrera available?
I gave her permission to speak and then she declined it again, so.
Okay. We are keeping our eye out for Shakira Davies, Azalea Mitchell, Maria, Divise, Stephanie, Ines, and Carlise, and Yolanda.
Devise has permission to speak. If Devise wants to unmute. Nope. Okay. Let's see. Stephanie now has permission as well.
Hello.
Welcome, Stephanie.
Hi, yes, my name is Stephanie Menendez, and I'm a assistant teacher at Mary McLeod Bethune, the Academy in 16th Street, and I'm new to this school but I have family members that've been here for years, and I'm very, I've had great experience, and I'm just very glad for this new relocation. If we do get approved, the kids will have more more space. I'm an assistant in pre-K 3, and the kids having a better, larger place to expand and have different resources that the school will provide is very giving. And also, like someone said prior, them having a bus station, really like transportation nearby, helps a lot, the commute. And yeah, I'm just very excited if this does get approved, a new system, a new start will commence. So I'm just, that's it. That's pretty much it.
Thank you very much.
Chair Cruzy, everyone that was registered that was in the attendee queue has been given an opportunity to either speak, either they declined or they gave their comment.
Okay. Thank you, Aisha, for your close attention to this. And thank you to all of our public comment speakers this evening. This concludes the public hearing portion of tonight's agenda. Next on our agenda are charter amendment requests. And for that, I will yield the floor to Bijan Lane, Sector Planning and Compliance Specialist, to introduce the request from Mary McLeod Bethune Public Charter School. And I would also like to invite representatives from the school to provide remarks regarding this amendment request. Dr. Linda McKay, Marcus McKay, Lauren Fredericks, Jamia Williams, Edwin Acevedo, Jenny Martinez, and Stacy Bryson.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Bijan Lane. I am a specialist in the school performance department. Tonight, the board will hear from Mary McLeod Bethune Day Academy Public Charter School regarding its request to relocate one of its facilities. The school seeks authorization to relocate from 5413 16th Street Northwest to Tacoma Park Baptist Church at 635 Aspen Street Northwest ahead of school year 2024-25. The school seeks to relocate to provide more space for students and staff. Representatives from the school are here to answer your questions. Thank you.
Welcome, members of the Mary McLeod Bethune school community. Are they? There we go. Welcome. Would you like to provide some remarks? I think you're on mute.
Oh, sorry about that.
Thank you so
Good
much.
evening, everyone.
Good.
My name, I think Dr. McKay is going to.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Good evening to our DC Public Charter School Board and to Chairperson. I appreciate this time to speak to our relocation proposal. On October 23rd, 2023, we received word from the Tacoma Park Baptist Church that they had accepted an opportunity for Mary McLeod Bethune Day Academy to lease their space. This had been a process of over 1 year where we were talking to membership and leadership at Tacoma Park Baptist Church. The meetings were held at our 16th Street location where they toured and met with us, and also at the church. So after 1 year of conversation and talking with the board and talking to the parents of promising our securing a larger facility, we were able to receive a positive vote from the Tacoma Park Baptist Church. So we were extremely pleased. This is after many site reviews. We thought we had one on Upshur Street. It was always our quest to get a campus in our Northwest, to return to our Northwest campus, because actually the 16th Street campus was our first location back in 2004. But we were seeking a campus that was larger, that could meet the school's needs, but also within a radius of 1 or 1.5 miles from our present location. And so we were really pleased to do that. On October 23rd, 2023, I sent Aaron Palmer, a letter requesting a meeting with the ANC, and that was October 23rd. I was told that there was going to be a November meeting, but we were too late to get on that meeting. And just for any information, we do have documentation to support that. Due to unforeseen circumstances, the meeting was held in January last week, and I was not able to be there, nor was I able to let her know. I recently had death in the family and has caused some personal issues. My mother passed December 17th, and there have been a lot of issues and instances as a result. But I do want to say that on November 9th, the ANC commissioner was invited to attend a walkthrough
of the Tacoma Park Baptist Church. And that November 9th visit was for our parents. And Ms. Palmer did attend. And unbeknownst to us, we did not realize she was present until we stated that we had been in contact with the ANC. And so she revealed that, there she was. We also communicated for the November 20th community meeting in which we wanted to speak to the entire community. I do have communication from Ms. Palmer in which she said that she had approximately 20 neighbors who also wanted to attend. So we had a community meeting November 20th in which we spoke to and responded to questions, sharing the information about our relocation efforts. At this time, I'm going to ask Marcus McKay to give an overview of our Tacoma Park Baptist relocation. But before I do that, I do want to introduce some faces that you see. Ms. Jenny Martinez is a first grade teacher. Mrs. Stacy Bryson, our finance manager. Dr. Ed Acevedo is our principal at the Brooklyn campus. And you met Ms. Jamia Williams, who is a board member, and Marcus McKay, our principal. I'm sorry, he is our business manager. This is my dog, pardon me. One other thing I wanted to share with everyone is we do have documentation to show that the principals were given letters. Principal at Whittier and principal at Tacoma Park were sent letters on December 12th. So we have attempted to speak to the community in our emails. Many of the community attended the November 20th meeting, which was recorded via Zoom. And so we do have documentation to support our efforts to have communication with the community. We have not gone door to door yet, and we have not sent flyers out. We basically were relying on the communication with the ANC. Okay, Marcus, would you please begin the presentation? And this was shared with the community on November 20th.
Yes, give me one moment. Do I have screen share privileges?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
And while Marcus is putting the screen up, I also want to make sure that Mrs. Bryson speaks to a response that Mrs. Jablow stated regarding our financials and our lease concerns that she has had, not the school, but Mrs. Jablow. So we want to be able to also clarify some statements that have been made at this hearing, while we want to actually continue to be friendly and forward communicating with the neighborhood.
What is Ms. Bryson's role?
Mrs. Bryson is the finance manager at Mary McLeod Bethune. After Marcus has presented, we also want Ms. Fredericks and Ms. Martinez and Dr. Acevedo to make statements. Thank you. You ready, Marcus?
I am, yes. Hey, good evening, everyone. I'm just going to share a quick presentation to give a little background about the proposed relocation and the scope and scale of the school that we wish to relocate to Tacoma Park Baptist Church. So we intend to occupy the education building at Tacoma Park Baptist Church. The facility is about 20,000 square feet. We will be serving the same grades that we currently serve, but we will have larger classrooms to accommodate more students. And at full enrollment, we would serve up to 174 students. That's the amount if every seat in the school was full. That would be the maximum number of students that will be served. The current facility the proposed facility is 3 floors, totaling about 20,000 square feet. We will be adding an elevator and improving the classroom areas. The facility was previously an educational facility, so the bones of the building are great. We'll be making mostly cosmetic and accessibility upgrades and improvements to some of the building systems, some HVAC and electrical upgrades. So this is a timeline that we have. We are running behind this timeline some. The construction documents are expected to be completed in approximately 2 weeks, but we are on schedule to begin the new school year in the new facility if approved. And so to date, some of the items that we have done, we've completed a phase 1 environmental study.
/homework check starts in 30 minutes.
Excuse me. We have completed asbestos and lead testing. Hey, Alexa, stop. We have completed an asbestos and lead testing and received quotes for remediation. Not a whole lot of those materials, but they did identify some lead painted surfaces that would be removed prior to us operating there. Mostly door and window trim. We've received guidance from zoning attorney. The proposed use is permitted by right. We engaged a traffic consultant to do a traffic study and make recommendations for pickup and drop off procedures. We received a report that we circulated with the community. And in the past week, I attended a meeting with the traffic consultant and Mr. David Branyan from DDOT. We've received largely positive feedback, preliminary feedback. We'll be having further dialogue. They have a couple suggestions, but they were very positive about the methodologies. The traffic consultant took a pretty conservative approach to the projections, which they appreciated. So we've received very positive feedback, and we anticipate having further conversations with the community to share those, share that feedback and have some dialogue with representatives from DDOT. We have engaged a landscape architect to come up with conceptual design for playground and school garden. The construction documents architectural drawings, mechanical drawings are in progress now and should be complete within a couple weeks. Okay, Wells and Associates is the traffic consultant that we engaged. We worked with a traffic engineer named Jamie Milanovich. She gave us some great recommendations and presented those findings to the community. Overall, the scale of the school, we are a relatively small school, and this is a especially small campus, currently serving 93 students and potentially growing to 174 upon full enrollment. But the traffic consultants were tasked with creating a pickup and drop-off plan that minimizes risk to our students and surrounding community, and as well as reducing the impact of traffic that the school generates. And we will get into some of those findings a little later. And we engage Land Design as a landscape architect. And these are a couple of their projects. Okay, so the scope of the improvements that will be made will be improving ADA compliance, electrical upgrades, new lighting, new electrical receptacles, plumbing upgrades, everything done to improve efficiency and bringing things up to date. And the building's currently air conditioned, great mechanical systems. We will be adding additional ventilation for adding fresh air to the building. I touched on the asbestos and lead. We'll be doing remediation of those materials. And improving fire safety as well. Okay, this is an aerial view of the site. Previously, we had proposed a playground and garden area in that area indicated on this aerial view. However, we selected an alternative site after conversations with neighbors. So we have been engaged in dialogue with neighbors and receptive to feedback. And we intend to do that in the future. And I do want to offer an apology as well for not being able to make the meeting last week to all the neighbors. I had a family emergency and was unable to attend. I would have loved to be there. And we anticipate presenting at the next meeting on February 26th. So we have had two meetings with members of the community, and taking their feedback and have made good faith efforts to address those concerns. And that will be an ongoing process. We anticipate having further dialogue with the community.
Thank you, Marcus. Dr. Osvedo, you have a comment?
Good evening, Dr. McKay. Good evening, esteemed board. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to meet with you this evening. I know that some concerns were raised this evening about the 16th Street relocation. One thing I can say, I am the principal at the Brookline campus, and it's been an honor and a privilege to work with our amazing faculty and our students. And I've worked closely with both teachers at both campuses, and I am very touched and proud to work with both teachers, both sets of teachers. The 16th Street campus teachers are an amazing group. It's a small, tight-knit community, and many of our parents have said that they are constantly giving tremendous amount of care and love to our children. And I feel that having this opportunity to be at the new location is really going to enhance the learning opportunities for our students. As I mentioned earlier, we are an international baccalaureate school, and an international baccalaureate school is pretty much a learning framework that is governed by an international body. And there aren't too many schools in DC that are a Spanish language immersion IB program. And I have to say that many of our students have been developing inquiring, knowledgeable, and confidence in their learning. And our IB program empowers our students to take ownership in their own learning and help them develop future-ready skills to make a difference and thrive in an ever-increasing connected world. The new location will improve the learning experience for our students. The classrooms will provide a better place to learn, and many of the important and caring spaces as a library and a nurse's office. Additionally, it's going to afford the teachers that opportunity to further collaborate with their peers and have better learning spaces, not only for the children, but also for the staff. And I'm hoping that the board will consider our application for the Aspen Street Northwest location, as well as enriching the opportunity for students in the Tacoma Park area as well. Charter schools were developed to give parent choices, and I feel that having this location will certainly assist those students in Tacoma Park and those families have greater choice as well.
Thank you, Dr. Acevedo. Mrs. Martinez, first grade teacher, former pre-K teacher at Mary McLeod Bethune 16th Street campus.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. It's my pleasure to be here and say that I'm a Mary McLeod Bethune teacher for 5 years, and I belong just in this school for this time because I feel like a family, and that community said welcome to us, and they're a family and allow us to educate and care for the children. And I'm very excited to think that the school gives a big space for continue to development and teach my student academically, emotionally, physical. I have you can consider the proposal and give us more space for our students.
Thank you, Mrs. Martinez. And Ms. Fredericks is a second, third grade teacher at Mary McLeod Bethune 16th Street campus.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm delighted to also speak here in support of the relocation of the 16th Street campus. This is my third year at the campus, and we are definitely a growing school filled with lots of eager, engaged, and excited students. They come every day with a smile, same with their teachers, same with all the parents who drop them off in the morning that we get to say hi to. And we have a very lovely day with a high achieving attitude and excitement. So I think the opportunity to have a new space where this can continue to grow would be perfect for our school that already offers so much, like Dr. Acevedo had mentioned. So even with our curricula currently, with our IB primary years program, and with our dual language immersion program, all of these combined in a new space can only continue to help them flourish. We have the opportunity for larger and more adequate classroom spaces to continue that as well with this campus, general meeting spaces for teachers too.
Hello.
Continue to elevate that as well
Hey,
as
guys.
a library, a resource hub for research, reading, and academic exploration. It's exciting to see that opportunity. It's exciting for our students who already come to school ready to really learn and grow and elevate our mission at Mary McLeod Bethune Day Academy. And similar to the DC Public Charter Board mission, I think this helps empower us teachers to do our best work. And that can happen when we have that space to really educate the students using what our school already prides itself on. So I'm excited at the opportunity and I fully support the relocation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fredericks. And I just want to also say that we have a very robust STEM program for all of our students. And this will enable, relocation will enable us to really have that space to do it bigger and better at Tacoma Park Baptist Church. We also have environmental science classroom for our students, and our fifth graders also receive Latin and African American history as courses for the students in fifth grade. Mrs. Bryson, can you speak to the finance? You board members and all people watching do have a 5-year budget. And we talk about the 174, that is our growth over the 5 years that we will be at Mary McLeod Bethune Tacoma Park Baptist Church location.
Good evening to the DC Travel Board and all other attendees here. First, I would just like to say, in keeping in your time and not to hold anyone too long. As stated in the opening remarks of this board meeting, the district is a city of choice. And while Mary McLeod Bethune is not looking to poach students from the local schools, but we are looking to enhance the learning environment for our students that we currently have and for our families. And given that it is a school of choice, if other families decide that they would like to have their students attend our school, we are more than welcome to have them. In light of our current and previous year's enrollment, I would just like to mention to everyone here listening that we have definitely monitored and maintained a healthy financial situation for our school. As indicated in the report that was provided to everyone by Ms. Lane on page 5, it does speak to some of the highlights of our financial situation, in that we have exceeded the charter board target for cash on hand by 82 days, having 127 days of cash on hand and $3.4 million of cash in the bank. We attempted initially to purchase a building, and after 2 years and 2 failed attempts, with both of which were not our fault, but with the sellers of different locations, we were unable to purchase a building. And real estate is very limited in the district. So when we came across this Tacoma location, we were very excited at the opportunity to have a new space for our students that would allow them to have a better learning environment. So we did do our due diligence to try and take advantage of that opportunity. And we are in a fiscal space where we can take advantage of the opportunity. So it is my hope that after reviewing all of the information as well as our finances, and I would just like to mention to those outside the charter board that our finances are monitored by the charter board on an annual basis via their FAR report, in which we have always received outstanding marks and grades on our FAR report for the past 10 years or more since the report was created. I think back in 2010 or 11. So we have, for many, many years, had a very sound and financial outlook for our school. Thank you.
Thank you. Our board member, Mrs. Williams, did you have anything else that you wanted to share? Thank you. At this time, we are available to answer any questions, or we turn it back over to the charter board.
Yes, thank you, Dr. McKay and members of the Mary McLeod Bethune School community. I think I'm going to open it up to board members who may have some questions, and I'll probably follow up with some of my own. Board members, would anyone like to begin?
Yes, I'll begin, Chair Cruzy. Hello, Mary McLeod Bethune team. I have a lot of questions, but I'm gonna kind of go and I'm gonna start and then I'll stop and let other board members go. I just want to make sure I fully understand what the plan is. You plan to operate both locations simultaneously and for the entirety of your charter, or do you plan to phase out your existing campus?
No, we plan to operate 2 campuses. Since the beginning in 2004, we started with 2 campuses. Our first campus was at 16th and Kennedy, our present location. And that was because there was no opportunity to lease a public school building or find a building. So in 2004, we leased space from Sixth Presbyterian Church. We were there 5 years, along with leasing space on 42nd and Benning Road, which was our second campus. So we had 2 campuses serving 92 students. And in 2007, we were able to lease part of the SLO Education building. And we occupied that. And after 5 years at the 16th Street campus, we consolidated because we were able to lease the entire building. DC Public Schools closed their SLO campus. We were co-locating with the public school. And so we were able to consolidate. 6 years ago, we had the opportunity to go back to 16th and Kennedy, and we did that. And so we have been operating the 2 campuses, 1 location, 2 campuses, 1 school, because we are chartered for 1 school. And it has been a very positive experience. We're able to share many of our staff members, all of our support staff, our African-American history teacher, PE teacher, one of our PE teachers, one of our music teachers. We share and collaborate IB. The PYP process requires collaboration between campuses so that our teachers plan together, plan units of study together. And so we will continue to operate 2 campuses.
Okay, so I think what I want to understand more so than how you're going to staff it is I really want to understand your enrollment, how you're going to fill both buildings and maintain your fiscal liquidity and sustainability. Because if we look at the enrollment it looks like you increased it going into this school year, but before that you were not meeting enrollment. So how do you plan to meet enrollment at both campuses in order to maintain your fiscal position?
Yes, our Brooklyn campus was first affected by the closure of part of the Brentwood Village. I think more than 1/2 of that public housing development was raised and the next year, part of Kenilworth. And then we went into the pandemic. So you see in the application, you will see 21 and 22 school years, we lost students. And many of those students were students who were in pre-kindergarten classrooms, as well as after the pandemic, parents decided to have some of their students closer to home. So we are now building our enrollment again. My school DC has an enrollment for 16th Street and an enrollment for Brooklyn. But we do recruiting for 1 school, but both campuses.
Okay, so what is it looking like, and like how do you plan? I hear what happened, And I understand, but I'm trying to understand what your plan is moving forward. Like how are you going to, right? Because you're still trying to recover at your existing campus, and then you need to fill this new campus. So how are you thinking about it? Have you put additional resources towards it? What is outreach? Is there demand? Do you see that?
I think there is demand, and I think there is demand as well as outreach. And we do radio ads, we do flyers, we do fairs. And so we are operating in the same manner. Again, we've been doing this for approximately 20 years, minus 5 years in between, not being located at the 16th Street campus. But then we moved back in. We do believe that the enrollment will continue to grow. We were affected by the pandemic, as many schools, losing pre-kindergarten students, losing some students from other neighborhoods, and the fact that Kenilworth was raised and part of Brentwood Village was raised, but we are receiving children. We serve children from every ward in the city, and we want to continue that. We take pride in our diversity of demographics, diversity of language and culture. And so as people know more about and appreciate more our language immersion program, our offering of environmental science, STEM, IB, we strongly believe that we will continue to grow. And I say that along with stating that we have a very robust financial stability right now.
Right. Okay. So maybe that's what we need to see. And then Shakura, I see your hand raised. So maybe that's what we need to see and understand. And Ms. Bryce, maybe you can break that down to the staff to understand what is your gap measure in the event that you don't hit your enrollment numbers. What does that look like? Because I do see strong financials right now, but I also know I just saw a presentation of a huge renovation, and we know what that could be, and it's an older building, so there could be some unforeseen costs. And then trying to understand what your gap measures are financially in between. So maybe that can be provided more clearly to the staff. Shakura, I'm gonna I'll stop and let other people jump in.
Thank you, Board Member Wright. Good evening, MMB team. I do have just a couple of questions. Dr. McKay, building on your last comments, I wasn't clear if you could just reiterate, what are the indicators that you have demand for this second campus? Like, what indicators have you all cited as denoting that there's demand, therefore the need to move to the new building?
Yes, we are using My School DC. Presently, there are 82 and approximately 60 some new students, parents interested in the school. And so we do believe that we will receive more students as we grow and as people know that our program offerings. We believe that we have a very strong program, and that is one of the promoters that we have. Our recruitment efforts are ongoing, and we think that we will increase our enrollment.
So, Dr. McKay, to be clear, then it isn't that you have, you're anticipating excitement, but it isn't, there isn't sort of like a contingent of folk who are ready to go.
No, let me say that in My School DC presently, we only have one student per grade level on the Brooklyn campus who are ready or in our 16th campus. We do have more because we had a change in leadership after a teacher resigned, parents who left. We are not attempting to take any students from any school, a DC public school, a neighboring school, or whatever, but as people know more about the program in which we will continue to recruit and outreach, we do believe now that we will have more students. When we project 174 students by the end of year 5, we are only talking about an incremental increase in the student population at our 16th Street campus, 1 classroom per grade level. Presently, there are 32 pre-K parents interested in attending the 16th Street campus. That would be 2 classrooms. That would be an addition of 1 new classroom. So we think as we can provide a larger facility that can afford a separate library, separate art room, separate STEM program, separate environmental science classroom, we will be able to better serve students. And for the past 5 years has basically by word of mouth years. And so just as in every school, it's a matter of being robust in outreach and showing what we are capable of doing.
Okay. Colleagues, I just have 2 more questions and then I'll hop here. Number one follow-up to that, and then I'll pivot. So with regard to the proposed new campus, what has the feedback been from parents? Are they excited? Will they transition with you? Should it be the case that this is passed, do you have a commitment from your parents from the 16th Street campus that they will come to Tacoma? If so, what percentage of them have agreed to follow you all?
I can only speak of word of mouth that many of our parents, as I said, there was a leadership change at the 16th Street campus, and there were some disgruntled parents in our pre-K 4 classroom. But other than that, we do have strong commitment from our parents that they would like to see the relocation, that they would like to see better facility for their children.
But not a commitment to go to Tacoma.
Fredericks and Ms. Martinez in writing, or so it really is with the verbal commitment that they are looking forward. Those parents who live in walking distance of who are part of the ANC and in the neighborhood are looking forward to our relocation. All evidence that I have heard from our parents is that they are looking forward to the relocation.
Yeah, so the feedback from the parents has been overwhelmingly positive. We invited parents to a tour of the facility, and there was a lot of excitement. We've gotten no indications that it would be a deal breaker for anyone. The new site is
So
also.
Marcus and Linda, I'm a little confused. So if you want to maintain the 16th Street location, do you want those families to leave there to come to Tacoma?
Yes,
I think I'm
We'll be relocating the 16th.
We're relocating the campus. That means.
So you want to close, that's what I was asking you. So you want to close the 16th Street?
Oh, yes, it's a relocation. Relocation
Okay.
from 16th and Kennedy to Tacoma Park Baptist Church.
Okay.
We thought you were asking if we were going to maintain both facilities, including our Brooklyn campus.
Okay, thank you for that. This is my last question. You had been in negotiations with the church for several months and discussed the potential move at 2 of your board meetings. How did you engage the community prior to your October 23rd letter?
We did not, because we were not even sure that that was going to happen, but it's as soon as it was. And there was also that relationship with the church. We cannot step out forward from the church without the church giving their nod to say that they are interested. But many of the members of the church live in the neighborhood.
And the first board meeting, the vote was to approve, pursuing that lease further. The board approved that, and then once we got approval from the church body, we brought it before the board again. They approved, moving forward with the relocation.
And let me also say that Mrs. Bryson spoke that we were almost able to have purchased a building at First and Upshur Street. But and we were ready to pay cash and to do, it had been a daycare, but we were going to move. We informed our parents, and we were at the ledge of purchasing, and the seller had made a grave error, and so we were not able to purchase. In pursuit of finding a building that could meet our needs, we went to the Walter Reed area, and we looked at purchasing those two buildings. In our due diligence, we found out that because of the historical preservation requirements, we weren't able to make the architectural construction changes. And so we were left. And we have to be able to not be discreet, but be able to communicate information as we receive it. So that's why October 23rd, when we received the information, we informed our parents, and we went and informed the ANC. So not to take anything or to keep anything from parents and from the community, but we had to have something knowledgeable to be able to share with the community, school community and neighborhood.
Thank you. Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you. I think Nick comes up next.
Great. Thanks very much. Thank you, MMB team, for your application. Thank you for spending time just explaining the current events and the current state of things. Now, you were there. I think you probably would have seen there was a lot of public comment on this one, and a lot of comment from the ANC. There have been letters from the ANC. So actually, the phrase that sticks in my head that I heard from our ANC friends and also from a few other stakeholders was trust. And this idea that whatever it is about the way you've conducted yourselves with community engagement, that has lost trust, and that it will take some work to get that trust back. Now, without necessarily endorsing any particular viewpoint, just hearing that is disturbing, right? And so my question to you is, how do you think about that? And what are you going to do to regain the trust of those whose trust you seem to have lost?
Yes, I appreciate that. And I heard that from quite a few of the members. We attempted to communicate quickly, early, and in the best manner that we could. And we believe that communicating with the ANC member and our parents was the first process. And so we had it with the community. We had community meetings, we had open house. And so I understand that there is now a perception of distrust. I have had a perception of hostility that, we don't want you in this neighborhood. And I understand in a city, in an urban area, there are schools on the edge of Missouri Avenue, Riggs Road, 16th Street, 13th Street, Benning Road. There are schools that can impact and can heavily impact traffic. And so we did our due diligence in getting a traffic study you saw Wells traffic consultant. That person is a certified traffic engineer who did just as we asked, to look at what can we do to minimize neighborhood and traffic impact, and to provide recommendations for safe and non-impact on drop off and pickup. So I understand that it is so hard to change perception once a perception is made. But what we intend to do is ask for that listserv, use the listserv, put more information out. The parents now want leaflets passed out to them in the neighborhood, which we can do. We will continue to have Zoom meetings in which we will have open meetings where we will continue to invite parents and community, neighbors, the ANC, and those meetings are recorded. We will continue to maintain our invitation list, and we hope that we will build trust, and we hope that we will build and develop a healthy, positive relationship as we continue with this process. We have already stated, we sent another email to the ANC today to request attendance at another meeting. And we will make sure that as many of the parents who have, not just parents, neighbors who have attended, we will do that. We will make sure that we do more communication, more outreach to garner the trust of the neighbors.
I appreciate that. And I understand that this is complicated. And again, you don't just sort of believe any one source, right? I think just hearing it from a few was challenging. Hearing your perception is also important, right? I understand that if you feel like you're sensing hostility, all the more reason why I think my ideal would be that a month from now we hear from both parties, hey, we still might disagree, but we feel as if we've opened a better dialogue. I would love for that to be the outcome, right? And by the way, to those who spoke earlier and who were saying, and so this is me talking a bit, my apologies, team. But to those who said earlier, oh, you know, I think the accusation was our standards are lax and we just let anything come through, right? The standard is clear. The standard is essentially a version of what I just said, that there's been good faith engagement and good faith responsiveness, and that we see that. And it'll be the staff at the PCSB is going to help us to sort of sort out, did we see that happening, right? And I think that did we see that occurring? And so what I'd hope we would see when we see this come up for decision is evidence of that, right? Is evidence of that good faith engagement and responsiveness. You know, even if you remain far apart, that's not the standard, is that like everyone agrees, but the standard is that there's been good faith engagement and responsiveness. I worry listening to you, and this is just me, right? That, you know, that old saying when you say, so, you know, a teacher who's a beginner might say, I taught it, but the students didn't learn it. And we know that's not good enough. Well, in the same way, it can't be, we did this engagement, but they just didn't want to take our engagement, as it were, right? We want to know that there was, I think, a meaningful shift that came about as a result of that. So that's what I'd hope to hear. And I think the staff has probably discussed it. If you need more time in order to make that happen, definitely sympathetic to that too, right? As we think about the time it takes to gain trust and do engagement. Ideally, that's what we would see when it comes time for us to actually vote on this. So thank you for all your effort now. Understand that you're trying to advance a mission. That mission is important. Yeah, just wanted to set out what I think sort of my thoughts are in terms of what it would take for us to vote yes when the time comes.
Thank you. And we will we definitely take to heart what every board member as well as every ANC and neighborhood member has provided.
I co-sign what Board Member Rodriguez has said in terms of rebuilding the trust. I want to understand a little bit more about the work that you have done, particularly given the aggressive timeline, because I understand you want to relocate for this upcoming school year. I don't know who this question is geared towards, but can you talk about whether or not you've engaged DDOT in your traffic study and planning process? That was a lot of what we heard in public comment. What is this going to look like? How are things going to move? Right? I'm just trying to get home. We've all been there. You said it. We are in the city. Schools are in the middle of the city. So what does that look like in terms of DDOT and getting them involved? Have you invited them to attend your community meetings where you talked about pickup and drop off?
Yes, so Mr. George Branyan from DDOT and another gentleman attended the first community meeting that we had. And then Wednesday of last week, we had a meeting. So not long after the traffic consultant presented the findings to the community, also shared those findings with the staff from DDOT, and they shared positive feedback. There were a couple of suggestions regarding bicycle safety, but overall, they did not see any major impact to the roadways or to traffic as a whole.
Okay, so what I might suggest to piggyback on Board Member Rodriguez, right? I understand you can't go door to door, but what you can do is put stuff in the mail door to door. Having built a school and had to engage the community, I understand what that process looks like. But I think sharing with the community those studies, the results of the study, what it looks like, and what those plans will be and what that coordination in that community will look like, I think will go a long way based off of what we've heard from members today, and just thinking about exactly what you just said, Dr. McKay, right? Like all of the schools right around there, all of the traffic and what that looks like. If you are doing that work and engaging DDOT in that, you've done a traffic consultant, just make that public, right? Continue to put it on your website so that it is accessible for folks to see, making sure that those who are directly impacted by it, they should get some sort of direct outreach, right? Because this changes, we all live somewhere, right? What this looks like coming home and things like that. I do think that is worth the effort for the sake of your staff, your students, your families coming through, right? Because you don't want families coming in and having to deal with backlash from a community because you didn't do the work or we as a school didn't do the work, right? We've all had that happen too. That's not fair to your families who are just trying to get to work, drop their children off, etc. So if you've done that work, then please continue to share that with the community, make it public on your website, etc.
Thank you. Yes.
Jim, please go ahead.
Good evening, MMB team. Ms. McKay, my condolences on the passing of your mother.
Thank you.
I have a few questions about your community engagement, starting with the Advisory Neighborhood Commission, which has a very important and special role to play in community engagement under the law. I understand that you plan to attend the next meeting, the February meeting of the ANC. Is that right?
Yes.
Is my understanding correct that you have not yet presented at a meeting of the ANC?
No, we have not. We have only met with members of the ANC at community meetings, but the planned ANC meeting was last Monday, I believe, and I was unable to be there.
Yes, I understand. In retrospect, I think it would have been better if someone from the school had attended, or at least if you had provided some notice. The ANC is important, and I just think it's necessary that you acknowledge the centrality of the role they have to play here in community engagement. This is going to be an important meeting in February, and to follow up on Member Rodriguez's comments, I think there's some repair work that needs to be done. And I think the way you presented that meeting and the way you listen to what you hear will be very important in reestablishing that trust that's so essential. My
Thank
other questions relate to public noticed meetings of your board where the move was discussed. I understand that you weren't in a position to discuss things publicly until they were fairly far along and you knew that you had an active offer from the church. Have you discussed at a public noticed meeting of your board the move since you got word from the church that they were ready to proceed?
We meet quarterly, and so yes, in our November meeting, it was a public meeting. Yes,
And was that this item on a public notice of that meeting?
I believe it was on the agenda. Yes.
It was.
Yeah, it was?
Yes.
Yes.
If you haven't already, if you could provide that to the staff, that would be good.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. McKay, I also want to offer my condolences for the passing of your mother in December. Thank you, MMB team, for this, and fellow board members for all the excellent questions. I just had a couple additional questions to round it out. Mr. McKay, you referenced that this building had previously been a functioning school. Is that right?
It has in the past was a daycare. And before that, the church used it for Sunday school classes, but it was designed for educational functions.
I see. Okay, so you wouldn't know what the enrollment of that had been and if that is meaningfully different from your anticipated enrollment here.
The daycare had a maximum enrollment of 118 students. That was what their C of O said.
Okay.
The
Okay.
facility is the previous C of O for the building as a church building was much higher than our projected enrollment.
Okay. Okay. Then on to the renovation timeline. There's quite a few moving parts here. What kind of contingencies do you have for the next school year if this is somehow, if you're not able to complete this move or complete the construction on time?
So in that event, we would hold over at our current facility and possibly do a mid-year relocation. But as of now, we would be on track barring any unforeseen, walls caving in, things like that.
And then lastly, it's worth reiterating, but I won't go into the depth of detail about the significance and importance of the concerns that have been raised this evening. We heard comments that were both, we did hear comments in excited anticipation for a possible relocation, but we also heard quite a few concerns, including from the local ANC. Can you speak to how you are going to be incorporating feedback on big matters and little on the next steps that you take? In addition to, I understand you requested to attend the next ANC meeting, but you will hear feedback at that meeting and would like to hear how you intend to incorporate that feedback.
Yes, thank you. I just happened to open an email from one of our parents who submitted a written statement along with 4 other 4B ANC members. I will reach out to the commissioner as well as to parents and neighbors who are members of the ANC and ask them to join us as we continue to deliberate and make decisions and communicate so that they can be a part of representation of moving forward. I think that's the best way to make sure that we have not just the commissioner, but members of the ANC being a part of our relocation efforts, communication, traffic study, decision-making. So I think a few meetings prior to the February 26th meeting will be a good way to include those board members, not board members, ANC members.
Okay, thank you. Bijan, I think that this will conclude this portion of the hearing. We appreciate the MMB community being here this evening. And we look forward to reviewing some of the materials that I understand you'll be following up with our staff on.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, now, board members, I'd like to yield the floor to Starling Temp, Goals Specialist for Data and Accountability, to introduce the request from Youth Build Public Charter School. And I'd also like to invite representatives from the school to provide remarks regarding their amendment request. Claire Liebert, Suraj Patel, Mary Blatch.
Good evening. Hello, my name is Starling Temp. I'm a specialist in the school performance department. Tonight, the board will hear from Youth Build Public Charter School regarding its request to amend its charter goals and academic achievement expectations by removing its in-seat attendance goal. Youth Build Public Charter School proposes this adjustment to align with DC Public Charter School Board's shift away from measuring in-seat attendance in adult education programs as captured in a board-approved 2022 data collection summary. Attendance indicators do not always capture the nuance and structure of course offerings for adult programs, as these programs often do not require in-person learning 5 days a week. The school says eliminating this goal will increase Youth Build Public Charter Schools' capacity to focus on more impactful, mission-driven activities. If approved, this change would be applied to school year 22-23, 23-24, and beyond. Representatives from the school are available to answer the board's questions.
Great, thanks, Starling. I'm Claire Liebert. I'm head of school at Youth Build DC Public Charter School. I am joined today by Mary Blatch, who is secretary of our board, as well as Suraj Patel, who is our board chair. So thank you for joining us. I will keep this brief, but I do want to say a very, very big thank you for approving our enrollment ceiling increase in the last year. We are really excited to grow going forward. This school year has been going very well. We're continuing to build on that momentum. We've already had 5 students graduate and earn their GED diploma, with 13 lined up with just 1 more test to go and many more in the pipeline. Just halfway through the year, we've already had 86 students show at least one NRS level of growth on either subject on CASAS. That's almost 80% of students who post-tested so far, and that continues throughout the year. And one very special thing we're excited about is our DC Builds DC partnership. It's a group of construction employers who are really dedicated to meeting their first source hiring requirement for DC residents. And so we've had just amazing guest speakers from different companies. They've interviewed students. They have started externships where students are going to work actively while they're also in school at different employer sites, and already offers of employment upon graduation. So we're excited. Things are going well. On this front, on the amendment, as Starling said, our previous goal was aligned to the old performance management framework. It included attendance as a leading indicator alongside persistence. The shift in focus is really understanding attendance not as an end in itself, but as an input, as a means to getting to meaningful student outcomes. And so, as Starling said, we still care very much about attendance. We still talk about it. We still work hard to keep students actively engaged. But this is more in evaluating our success as a school and our impact on our students. It's looking at what did they get out of their time at Youth Build, not necessarily the hours that they spent there. I think another part that Starling might have hinted at a little bit here is that for adult education, the vast majority of our students are beyond compulsory education age. So the percentage of our students who are minors has increased the last couple of years, but it's still 3/4 of our students are 18 and above. So it's just a little bit different than your sort of K-12 world. And again, we don't stop looking at it. We report it, we collect it every day, send it to OSSI, we are analyzing it constantly. But for us, it's much more about looking at zooming out. What are trends in students' attendance? What's going on with this individual student that we need to intervene on and support with and all of that. But in terms of outcomes, we're much more focused on GED tests, on CASAS growth, on, what happens once they leave Youth Build, whether they're employed or in school, all of that. So that's it.
Thank you for this update. Thank you for being here this evening. I'll kick it off with the first question and invite other board members to join. Ms. Lieber, in your application, you mentioned that the school would continue to track and incentivize attendance to help students make progress. Can you elaborate on your plans to incentivize attendance and how will it remain a priority?
Sure. So we are unusual in that we actually offer a stipend for students to attend school. So if you come to school on time, you persist through the entire school day, you're actively engaged in class, you earn $15 an hour. And so that is when you calculate that over the course of the whole year, and you can see in our financial reports, it's a large sum of money, much more than might be typical at a school, because we want to make it possible for students who are in this very particular population to choose to be in school while also managing all of the demands of their lives. And so that's been a huge, huge strategy for us. And in addition to incentives, we've built out strong systems for monitoring not only student attendance, but also the interventions. Like I can pull up a tab on Chrome right now and tell you exactly where a student is in the interventions process. What date did they have their last home visit? Like it's all of that. In addition to I believe last year was close to $500,000 spent just on stipends. So we take it very seriously.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. This concludes the public hearing portion of our agenda. Board members, may I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I move to approve the January 29, 2024 board meeting agenda.
I second.
Secretary Adam Fanian, would you be so kind as to take a roll call vote?
Absolutely. Chairwoman Cruzy,
Aye.
Vice Chair Sandman,
Aye.
Board Treasurer Wright, Board Member Rodriguez.
Aye.
I am an aye.
Great. Motion passes. Thank you. Next on our agenda is a charter amendment request from the Next Step El Próximo Paso Public Charter School. For that, I yield the floor to Starling Temp again, our Data and Accountability Goal Specialist. Welcome back, Starling. I'd also like to invite representatives from the school to provide remarks on this amendment request, Thomas Boswick and Dr. Vivian Robledo.
Thank you, Chair Cruzy. I don't believe Thomas will be joining this evening. DC Public Charter School Board staff recommends its board vote to approve the Next Step Public Charter School's request to amend its charter goals and academic achievement expectations. The school seeks to amend its Adult Basic Education, or ABE, progress goals. The school proposes measuring ABE growth using educational functioning levels rather than grade level equivalencies. National and local ABE assessment data are typically reported using educational functioning levels, including under DC Public Charter School Board's Adult Education Framework. If approved, this change would be retroactively applied to school year 2021-22 and beyond. DC Public Charter School Board did not receive any public comment on the request, and if the board has any further questions, representatives from the school and I are available to answer.
Welcome, Dr. Robledo. Do you have any remarks that you'd like to share with the team here?
I would just like to thank you, Chair and Dr. Walker, for allowing this opportunity, and to PCSB and Starling for all your help. Tom, who is our data manager, is not able to be on tonight. Was a long 10-hour day. We had all day PD. I'm just getting home from PD. So I think Starling shared it well, and I appreciate being here and able to be a part of this.
I do not have any questions here. Do any other board members have questions? Okay. Board members, I will now entertain a motion.
Jim, I saw you go off mute. Are you making a motion?
I am. I move to approve the charter amendment request of Next Step Public Charter School and approve the DC PCSB board chair to sign the amendment on the board's behalf.
Second.
Secretary Adama-Thanian.
Thank you. Chairwoman Cruzy,
Aye.
Vice Chair Sandman,
Aye.
Treasurer Wright,
Aye.
Board Member Rodriguez,
Aye.
and I am an aye. The ayes have it.
Thank you very much. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. Next, we will vote on the consent calendar. Would any board member like to remove an item from the calendar for further discussion or state a recusal for the record? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion on the consent calendar.
I move to approve all items on the consent calendar.
I
Second.
second.
You got it. Secretary Adama-Thanian.
Chairwoman Cruzy,
Aye.
Vice Chair Sandman,
Aye.
Treasurer Wright,
Aye.
Board Member Rodriguez,
Aye.
and I am an aye. The ayes have it.
Okay. Is there any new business? Colleagues, I will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn the January 29th board meeting. 2024.
Second.
Okay, you're not done yet, Secretary Adama-Thanian.
Happy to do it. Happy to do it. Chairwoman Cruzy,
Aye.
Vice Chair Sandman,
Aye.
Treasurer Wright,
Aye.
Board Member Rodriguez,
Aye.
and I am an enthusiastic aye. Ayes have it.
Good night, everyone.